everyone, and welcome to Sports Outlet. I'm your host, Matt Ajaj, and I'm joined here today by Otto Gomez and EJ Paris. With the NBA All-Star Game coming up soon, we'll be taking a look back at the first half of the season and what to expect for the stretch run into the playoffs. So first up, people have been complaining about aspects of the NBA for quite some time now, specifically the selection of All-Star rosters and the format of the playoffs. So how should the NBA go about making changes in these areas, if any changes are needed at all? EJ, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Matt. Well, I too have strong feelings about this. All-Star Weekend is a majorly important aspect of the NBA season. A lot of people pay attention to it. This year, it's in our local area. It's in Brooklyn and New York this year. And a lot of people have been complaining about how there are always snubs every year. And I like that aspect. It's like Commissioner Adam Silver was considering the idea of adding more players to the rosters. And I feel like that loses the integrity of the All-Star Game. If we're going to give everybody the chance to play in the game for like 2 minutes, just like a little commercial for every player, it won't mean as much when you have players like Tim Duncan, who've been on the All-Star team for like 15 years. And now if everyone can be on the All-Star team every year, what's the point? And as far as playoffs go, I believe that the Eastern Conference, yes, is a lot weaker than the Western Conference. When the 7th and 8th seed projected to win less than 40 games this year still make the playoffs, and you have above 500 teams in the Western Conference who like 9th and 10th place teams like Oklahoma City, New Orleans, who have it's possible that one of those teams will be snubbed from the playoffs. So I feel that the first place team of each division should make the playoffs. And then after that, regardless of whatever conference that team, the next 10 remaining teams are from, should make the playoffs. So they could theoretically all be Western Conference teams. Like it could be 13 West versus 3 Eastern teams, or it could be any combination depending on how the tide of teams goes in the NBA in the coming years.
Yeah,
so, that's an interesting perspective.
And about the All-Star Game, it's good when you have to limit the number of players because it adds competition to the game, and you want to see all these players get significant minutes because that's what you want to see. Again, if more players play, then it's not as fun. It becomes a lot more commercialized, like you said. The players love the competition, and it really means something to them to be named to the All-Star Game.
Right, when you have so many of these players coming in, I know people complain about the NBA Hall of Fame, like they're letting in so many players. The All-Star Game is becoming like that now if coaches want to let in more players. I think it's good that we're limiting the amount and we're only bringing in new players if they get injured or something like that.
Definitely.
All right, let's move on to our second discussion question. What do you think will be the biggest surprise in the second half of the season? Otto?
I think currently the Thunder would not make the playoffs right now. I think that they will make the playoffs. I think they're going to get past Phoenix or whoever it is into the 8th spot. They just can't. I think Durant will get back to a point where he'll be consistently healthy. He's had different injuries all this year. But I think that the Thunder are going to make the playoffs. Westbrook is just killing it right now. Durant is great, as we all know. Maybe another small surprise is that I think the Cavaliers are going to get really, really hot come playoff time. LeBron's going to kick it up a notch. And the guys are starting to play much, much better together. Kevin Love had a great game against the Lakers, 7 of 8 threes. And Kyrie will learn to mesh with them at the point guard position. I think those two teams will get stronger, especially after the All-Star break and come in playoff time. They're going to make it. Durant and Westbrook can't.
Well, yeah, you think Cleveland's a lock, right, for the playoffs?
Oh, absolutely. Not a discussion, yeah.
EJ?
I agree with your points, very much so. I feel like OKC will definitely come alive at the right time toward the end of the season. And I feel it will be more of a testament to the lack of luck that Phoenix has been given over the past few years.
Right.
Last year, they had the best record to not make the playoffs in NBA history. I believe they won 49 games last season. Yeah. And now this year, they're probably on pace for the same amount of wins. And you know what? Sad to say, they probably won't make the playoffs again because they just don't have the right, assets to really propel them or make them stand out against some of the elite competition in the West, especially that they're leading the season in losses by buzzer beaters.
Yeah.
I think they have like 5 this season.
5,
and
right.
and half of them were miracles too. And I just really agree with your opinion that OKC will make a splash toward the end of the season.
Yeah, and some of I was about to make the point, 5 buzzer beaters. Blake Griffin, step back, a couple bounces off the rim. DeMarcus Cousins, the same thing. It's ridiculous how.
Some lucky shots from guys who don't even shoot the ball.
Right, exactly, yeah. Who can't even step behind the three-point line.
Well, I'm glad to see you guys agree. We're going to take a quick break here, but when we get back, we'll go into our rapid fire segment. Stay with us. Welcome back to Sports Outlet. It's now time for our rapid fire segment where I ask each analyst 3 questions and they'll have 30 seconds to respond. EJ, we'll start with you. Do fans still look forward to watching the dunk contest?
Oh, good question. Wow. Well, I mean, in the heyday of the event, in the 80s, 90s, you had the league's best talent really trying to one-up each other every time. Big names like Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins really trying to electrify the audiences. That was the best thing to look forward to on All-Star Saturday night. But now you have, no offense to these guys, scrubs participating in these events.
No argument.
You have Mason Plumlee, John Antetokounmpo, Victor Oladipo, and Zach LaVine, who I think will win the contest. But frankly, Zach LaVine hasn't even played this season. He can play in a game like, all right, there you go.
No, I agree. I don't want to see Plumlee dunking. I don't.
He's like 6'10".
Yeah,
You
know.
can't have
not
guys jumping over
impressive.
cars every
They don't
year,
even
though.
have to jump at some point. They just put their arms out, almost.
Well, Otto, for your first question, do you think the three-point contest will be more exciting than the actual All-Star game?
This year, I think it will be. The lineup for it is ridiculous. You got Harden, you got Curry, you got Thompson, the Splash Bros, you got Korver. Even just them alone is ridiculous. I think you got Kyrie Irving. It's going to be a really fun time because, one, these guys are really in it to win it. They really care about this. All of them have spoken publicly about it. They want to win it. And the All-Star game, it's fun seeing guys dunk and do all these ridiculous things, great passes. But they don't play like any defense till the fourth quarter. And scores like 160 to 150. So it's not that fun. I really think the three-point contest this year will be a lot of fun.
And all the players you listed are actually on the All-Star.
Right.
On all the All-Star teams. So especially going back to the dunk thing, all the league's best talent are in the three-point contest. It's going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Some leagues should look into for next year. Your second question, EJ, is the Eastern Conference as weak as everyone makes it out to be?
Well, we alluded to this earlier. The top of the East, totally elite. You have Atlanta, Toronto, Washington, Chicago, Cleveland. Those 5 teams, very solid, can hold their own against most teams in the NBA. But then after that, it gets very hazy. I mean, Milwaukee, while yes, they're good, they're young, and they're exceeding expectations that many people expected from them this year. I don't know. It's just not as good as like the talent you have in the West, though. They're okay, the top 5 in the East. That's all I can really say. It's just like, I just don't like how it basically LeBron versus the East.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 6 through 8 seeds don't have much of a chance in the playoffs. They're pretty much one and done. Or none and done.
I
should say.
really think past Atlanta, maybe Cleveland, we'll see. They haven't proven themselves yet. They're not really that good either. Especially against the West teams, they're not that good. So like Chicago has its problems. Everybody up to, including Toronto, they have their own problems. And I really think it's a very, very weak conference.
Hard to match up with the West. Otto, for your second question, can the Golden State Warriors keep the #1 seed in the Western Conference?
Yeah. Oh, coming into the playoffs? Oh, absolutely. I think they can. They shoot the lights out. Andrew Bogut helps them tremendously on defense. Great passing and great role players like Draymond Green he starts, but Draymond Green or Andre Iguodala or
Murray Spates.
Murray Spates, that's right. I didn't know how to pronounce the last name. Yeah.
Difficult name.
Yeah, they all produce at a great rate, and I think it's going to come close, maybe with the Grizzlies up there. But I definitely think that they're gonna lock down the #1
Steve
seed.
Kerr's done one heck of a job.
Yeah,
People were so
Coach of the
critical of
Year.
Mark Jackson. But
Right. Well,
#1 in offensive and defensive efficiency in the
Right,
NBA.
right.
Last time a team did that was 96 Bulls.
72 wins. That's right.
good stat right there. EJ, for your final question, who is our mid-season MVP?
I'm gonna go with James Harden.
Ooh.
Yep, I have to say it. As great of a season Steph Curry's been having, they are just a great holistic team. James Harden, everyone's been falling apart around him. Dwight Howard is out for a very long period of time, injuries all the time. He's throwing up 40. He's leading scorer in the NBA right now. His points are an important statistic in the NBA. And I believe he's just doing all he can. He's mustering, really putting the team on his back. Houston would not be relevant without James Harden.
Warriors are 4-0 against them this year.
That
Against
is
the
very
Rockets.
true.
Steph Curry's been outplaying them every
The
time.
Warriors beat everybody. I think LeBron James is the midseason MVP. Just most valuable. He's out, they lose. He carries them, they win. He plays badly, they don't win. He's the best player in the game. While James Harden's having a great year. Carry in Houston. I don't know. LeBron is spectacular as always.
Otto, for your final question,
Yeah.
what injury concern will have the biggest impact on the playoff chase down the stretch?
I think that either Durant, if Durant can manage to stay healthy, or Anthony Davis, who just got hurt. He always faces the injury bug, and nobody knew. Like New Orleans is in the playoff hunt, but Anthony Davis goes out, they're over. It's over, and that means a lot for Phoenix and for Oklahoma City, who are both trying to make the playoffs. It's one less contender, and I really think that if Anthony Davis stays healthy, that's going to be another team that can really have a good shot at making the playoffs.
I was going to say, can they contend, though, in the playoffs? Do you think the Pelicans with a healthy Anthony Davis?
Oh, no, probably not. What, playing the Warriors in the number 1 seed? Maybe not a chance. I don't think so.
That'll do it for our rapid fire segment. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with Coming At You. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's now time for our final segment, Coming At You, where each analyst will ask another a question made up on the spot, and they'll have about a minute to respond. Otto, we'll start with you.
Okay, EJ, the Hawks coach, apprentice of Greg Popovich, great coach. Do you think the league's going to be taken over by apprentices of the great Greg Popovich?
You know,
in the future?
his philosophy is really infectious. Even former players like Avery Johnson, Steve Kerr, obviously he's having a stellar season with the Golden State Warriors this year. It's just something about that organization where everybody just has a team-first mentality and pass the ball, good rotation minutes. We need to get the most production out of every player on the team. Everyone is held accountable. The people who are at the top of the team, people at the lower, like in terms of rotation minutes, everybody's held accountable. No one is treated like a star. Everybody has to contribute in their own way. Tim Duncan, no matter how many years he's played for Greg Popovich, he'll always get hounded by him for not like hustling enough on the floor. So I think this style, this philosophy that he's developed a great reputation for in San Antonio will definitely spread around the NBA. Especially even Jason Kidd, who hasn't even played for Greg Popovich, has played alongside some of his former players, and he's even employing some of his rotation strategies over in Milwaukee. And that's why they're exceeding expectations over there in Wisconsin this year.
Becoming like the Bill Parcells in the NFL with so many of his apprentices coming up and doing a great job in the league.
Right.
EJ, what's your question?
All right, well, here we are, tri-state area. Our fellow teams in New York aren't really doing so well right now. Very much so that some fans are really aggravated with the owner of the Knicks, Dolan. So, what's your opinion of what happened in recent weeks of the email altercation with the fan?
Yeah, he told he told the fan that he doesn't want drunk fans, that the Knicks organization doesn't want drunk fans. I personally think James Dolan was drunk writing that email. I wouldn't be surprised.
Neither would I.
He has messed up this organization for a really long time, unfortunately. And I completely understand any fans that are very upset at him because for the last 10 years, a little farther back, with the head coaching decisions, with the personnel moves, things haven't been going right. Isaiah Thomas, all the players, you look at the rosters for the mid-2000 Knicks teams were awful, just absolutely awful, giving big contracts like Eddie Curry or, all these.
Trading away Ewing and Spreewell.
Right. Yeah, Jesus. I completely sympathize with all the fans who are very upset at James Dolan, and I'm glad that it comes out, something like this comes out in the media now, because this has been going on for a long time. People have been very upset at him, and I really think it's time for the organization to move a different way, to completely change the mindset. I mean, they got Phil Jackson, which is a great step, but I think even higher up, you got to make some changes for the organization to get back on the winning track.
So when you have Phil Jackson in the front office, you're looking pretty good for the future.
Yeah, I hope so.
Maybe not this year, but hopefully.
Yeah, in the years to come, hopefully my Knicks will be back on top.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe, hopefully.
Well, that'll do it for our Sports Outlet. We'll be back soon. For Otto and EJ, I'm Matt. Have a good one, everybody.